Welcome back to my channel today. We explore the value of specific coins. The most valuable steel penny coins, value in market first up. The 1943 steel penny is one of the most talked about coins in American numismatics, and for good reason. Struck during World War II, this coin tells a fascinating story about history, the economy, and the war effort. In 1943, the United States Mint made a drastic change to the penny's composition. Instead of the usual copper, which was desperately needed for ammunition and other military supplies, the Mint produced pennies from zinc-coated steel. This change created a coin with a silvery appearance that looked very different from the traditional bronze cents people were used to seeing. The Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark at the time, struck the largest number of these coins, and those without a mint mark are very common today. If you flip over a 1943 penny and see no letter under the date, you are holding a Philadelphia issue. Now, the key question collectors often ask is, what is this coin worth? The truth is, while the 1943 steel penny is famous, it is not particularly rare in circulated grades because hundreds of millions were made. Its value largely depends on condition. When we talk about a coin being in fine condition, we mean that the main details are still visible, but the coin shows moderate wear from circulation. For example, the outline of Lincoln's hair and the lettering on the coin are still clear, but the finer details are worn down. Fine condition is considered mid-level for circulated coins, not as heavily worn as good, but nowhere near as sharp or attractive as an uncirculated specimen. For the 1943 steel penny, without a mint mark in fine condition, the typical market value in today's collector market is modest. Price guides and dealer listings consistently place these coins in the range of around $120,000, most commonly under $1,000. That means, if you have a circulated Philadelphia steel cent graded fine, you cannot expect a fortune from it. It is a historic coin with great story value, but not a retirement plan in itself. That said, collectors do buy them, and they still hold far more interest than a common modern penny. Of course, exceptions always exist. Certain error varieties, such as repunched mint marks or striking mistakes, can fetch higher prices. Even more famously, a very small number of 1943 pennies were accidentally struck in copper instead of steel. Those rare copper 1943 cents can sell for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. But they are an entirely different coin from the ordinary steel version. If you ever suspect you might have one, weighing it is a good test. A genuine steel penny weighs about 2.7 grams, while a copper one weighs about 3.1 grams. For most collectors, the 1943 steel penny is a fun, affordable piece of history. In fine condition, its dollar value may be low, but its educational and historical significance is very high. It reminds us of the sacrifices made during World War II, and it stands out as one of the most unique designs in U.S. coinage because of its unusual metal. If you own one, you are holding a real piece of American history that many collectors treasure, even if it is worth only a few dollars in today's market. Next up, the 1943 steel penny without a mint mark is one of the most recognizable coins from World War II, created when the U.S. Mint had to save copper for the war effort. Instead of the usual bronze composition, these cents were struck from steel and coated with zinc, giving them a shiny, silvery appearance when new. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number of these coins, and since Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark at the time, you will find many 1943 steel cents that simply read 1943 without any additional letters. When we talk about a coin being in good condition, it means the coin has seen heavy circulation. In this grade, the overall design is still identifiable, but the details are worn down. Lincoln's portrait, for example, is visible but flattened, with little to no fine detail in the hair or beard. The lettering and date are readable, but often faded, and there may be surface scratches, spots, or dullness from years of handling. Scratches, especially on steel cents, are very common, because the zinc coating wears away over time and the underlying steel can rust or corrode, leaving marks and rough surfaces. This is part of the reason why many surviving steel pennies look spotted or dull instead of shiny. As for value, the 1943 Philadelphia steel penny in good condition with scratches is considered a very common coin. Since more than 680 million of them were minted in Philadelphia alone, they are widely available on the market. Price guides and coin dealers generally place coins in this lower circulated condition at a value of around $200,000 each. Sometimes, if the scratches are very heavy or the coin shows significant rust, the value can be closer to face value or only $1,000, as collectors prefer cleaner examples. On the other hand, if the scratches are light and the coin is still intact without major corrosion, it can sell toward the higher end of that small range, perhaps closer to $50. It's important to note that while the standard 1943 steel cent in good condition is not worth much, collectors often still buy them as starter pieces or to fill a spot in a Lincoln cent collection. The real money is in error coins and high-grade certified examples. For instance, the rare 1943 copper cent is one of the most famous error coins in U.S. history and can be worth a fortune, while pristine steel cents graded uncirculated by PCGS or NGC can also bring strong prices at auction. But in everyday cases, a heavily circulated steel penny with scratches is more of a historical keepsake than an investment. Even though the dollar value is low, the coin is fascinating because of its background. It represents a time when the entire country made sacrifices during the war, even down to the materials used for the smallest coin in circulation. Holding one is like holding a tiny piece of 1940s American history. If you've got a 1943 steel penny without a mint mark in good condition with some scratches, it's a neat collectible, usually worth less than $1 today. But it carries with it a powerful story of resilience and resourcefulness. Next up, the 1943 steel penny with the D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint during World War II, when the U.S. changed the cent's composition from copper to zinc-coated steel in order to conserve copper for the war effort. Like its Philadelphia counterpart, this coin has a silvery appearance and stands out in the history of American coinage. The Denver Mint produced over 200 million of these coins in 1943, which means they are not considered rare in most circulated grades. However, they remain highly collectible because of their historical background and the unusual steel composition that was used for only a single year. When a coin is described as very fine (VF) condition, it means it is in a higher grade than fine, but still shows clear signs of wear. The major details of Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse remain visible. The lettering is complete, and the reverse still shows clear wheat stalks, though some finer lines are worn down. Coins in very fine condition have a pleasing balance. They are not as worn as lower-grade circulated examples, but they are also not sharp or detailed enough to approach the higher values of extremely fine or mint-state coins. The presence of scratches, however, does have an impact. Light or moderate scratches are fairly common in circulated coins, but if they are distracting or heavy, they can lower the coin's overall eye appeal and thus reduce its market value. So, what is a 1943 D steel penny in very fine condition with some scratches worth in today's market? Price guides and dealer listings show that these coins generally sell for around $300,000 in average very fine condition. The value can vary slightly depending on the severity of the scratches, the overall eye appeal, and the demand from collectors at the time of sale. In many cases, scratches mean the coin will trade closer to the low end of that range, since collectors often prefer pieces with cleaner surfaces. It's important to understand that the 1943 D is still a very common coin. Millions remain in circulation among collectors, so even in grades like very fine, it does not command a high premium. The real value for most people comes from its historical significance and its unique steel composition. It is an affordable collectible that allows new hobbyists to own a coin with a direct tie to World War II. On the other hand, rare varieties and errors are where real money can come in. A handful of 1943 D coins were mistakenly struck in copper instead of steel, and those are among the most famous rarities in U.S. coinage, often selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. But for the ordinary 1943 D steel cent, especially one in very fine condition with noticeable scratches, the value today is modest, and usually just a couple of dollars. Still, it is a great conversation piece, a fun coin to show off, and a valuable reminder of how even small everyday objects like pennies were affected by the massive effort of a nation at war. Next up, the 1943 steel penny with an S mint mark is another historic coin from World War II that sparks interest among collectors. In 1943, the U.S. Mint produced pennies out of zinc-coated steel instead of copper to conserve copper for ammunition and military supplies. The S on the coin stands for the San Francisco Mint, which struck fewer coins than Philadelphia but still produced over 190 million steel cents that year. Because of this, the San Francisco 1943 steel penny is more desirable than the Philadelphia issue, though it is still common in lower grades. When we look at a coin in good condition, we are talking about the lower end of the grading scale. A good grade means the coin has seen heavy circulation. The details are still visible, but much of the finer design has worn away. On a 1943 S steel penny in good condition, you will notice that Lincoln's hair and coat details are quite smooth, and the lettering and date are clear but not sharp. If there are additional scratches on the coin, that lowers the overall eye appeal, which can slightly reduce collector interest. Still, even with scratches, these coins remain collectible because they are iconic pieces of American coinage. In terms of market value, a 1943 S steel penny in good condition is generally worth between about $260,000 in today's market. Most dealer price guides and auction listings show that well-worn steel cents do not bring high prices, since millions survive. A coin with scratches will typically be at the lower end of that value range. That said, some collectors do try to assemble full sets of 1943 steel cents from all three mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. So even a good condition coin has a place in collections. It's also important to mention that special varieties, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or other minting errors, can command higher prices. But for a standard 1943 S with no errors, the value in heavily circulated condition with scratches remains modest. It's not the type of coin that sells for big money, but it is still a fascinating reminder of wartime America and the unique decision to change the penny's metal for a single year. For many collectors, the 1943 S penny is a great starting point because it is affordable and widely available. Even though the price is low, the story behind the coin gives it much more appeal than its small dollar value suggests. Having one in your collection connects you to a period when every piece of copper counted toward the war effort. In good condition, with scratches, you can expect this coin to be worth only cents to about $1, but its historical significance makes it a conversation piece and a collectible worth keeping.